Josh Whitaker. This is Joe Hamer. We're attorneys with the law firm of McCullers, Whitaker & Hamer. We're here today for a segment we call Real Estate Closings 101, where we try to focus on one specific aspect of real estate closings for buyers, sellers, and real estate agents. And so our first topic for today is power of attorneys for a buyer in a real estate closing. And so today, just some general advice. The first thing I tell anybody who is a buyer in a real estate transaction is a general power of attorney is probably not going to cut it. So if you already have a power of attorney, say you want to sign for your spouse and you guys have already done your estate plan and you have a power of attorney, while that power of attorney is going to be useful for a lot of things, for a real estate transaction, we don't want to see it. Your lender doesn't want to see it. Your lender is going to require you to have what's called a specific power of attorney, and that is a power of attorney that is drafted for that purchase. And it's going to be specific to a piece of property, a loan amount, and that's what your lender is going to require. We usually, as your closing attorney, we usually will draft it for you. We try not to charge you very much for it, just as a courtesy. But just be aware, if your spouse is overseas working and you have a general power of attorney, not good enough. So that's the first thing I would let you know. That's the thing that trips people up, I think, the most.
And piggybacking on what you're saying, Josh, it's got to be specific and your lender's got to approve it as well. So whether, normally your closing attorney is going to be preparing it for you, whether that be us or whether you're using a different closing attorney. But it's very important that you get it done. You let the attorney know ahead of time so that there's sufficient time for the lender to review and approve, because the lender's going to have to approve it. There's times the title company will have to approve it, and that's something that needs to be, the sooner it can be done, the better. Another thing is we're going to always need the original, or your closing attorney is always going to need the original, because that power of attorney is going to have to be recorded prior to closing. Now, that's something that can be done on the day of closing, but a lot of times that's going to be cutting it close, because, again, you're going to have to wait for that power of attorney to record, and then you're going to have to use the information from that to record the documents that you're signing for your lender for your closing. So while it can be done the day of closing, a lot of times the earlier the better. So if you can get that original over ahead of time, that's going to help you out. But the main thing is you will need the original, and that's going to have to be something that you're going to have to coordinate. A copy's not going to suffice. There is going to be a fee for preparation. Again, we try to help our clients out if we're doing the closing. You've also got to keep in mind there's going to be a recording fee. For us, our software charges us a $4.50 e-recording fee, and there's a $26 charge, which is pretty much the charge in any county in North Carolina to record that power of attorney. So it is going to add some additional fees. And then Josh can talk about some of the other potential drawbacks for using that POA.
Yeah. So when you're going to be using a POA, that means you're going to be signing for yourself. And in this example, you're signing for your spouse who can't be there. So that's a lot of signing, and you got to sign a specific way for the spouse who's not there. So your closing is going to take, twice as long as the normal closing. So you just have to budget time. So it'll take longer. The other thing I would point out, a lot of times we see people using a power of attorney because their spouse is overseas, somebody else involved in the transaction is overseas. If you're overseas, notary can be a problem. Some countries you can just use a regular notary. Some countries, notaries aren't good here in the U.S., and you have to actually go to the U.S. consulate to get everything done, and that takes time. The biggest thing I would say, if you're going to buy property and you're kind of planning ahead, I would try to avoid using a power of attorney. If you're paying cash, that changes things. This was, if there's not a lender involved, it's a little easier. But that would be my overarching, if you're going to buy property, try to plan to be at closing.
So I think in summary, keep in mind a general POA is not going to work. You're going to need something specifically tailored to your loan and your lender. You're going to have it approved by the lender, the title company, and the closing attorney. So get it out, make sure you let everyone know ahead of time and get that approval process taken care of. We're going to need the original. There's going to be some fees added, and you're going to have to plan to sign potentially for twice as long at closing.
Yeah.
So.
All right. Well, I hope that was helpful. See you soon. Thanks.